said, I mean, there's no one like me. Trying, deep down, you trying.
What's up, what's up, what's up? It's Paris Hart and Jason Williams. Today, we have a different special guest. You may know him from the Stop Playing show or the Kickback show. We have the voice of the 585. We got DJ Tygga Ty.
Yeah, what's going on? What's going on, people? How are y'all? Hello, what's up? And all that other good stuff.
To start it off, being from Rochester, you know, there's a big rap scene that I think goes underappreciated. And you see, I have a lot of people trying to be artists, whether it's rappers, whether it's singers, but you chose the route of being a DJ. What was that like in that environment? And how did Rochester kind of push you into that lane?
Well, Rochester as a whole is considered, in my eyes, a metropolitan city. So you have people of different elements. You have a city where you got, I believe it's about 5 or 6 colleges, surrounding areas. You have a bunch of different high schools. You got middle schools. You got people that are from different islands. You got people that are from the city. You got people that are from down south. So you get a mixture of everything. So when it comes down to that, it kind of breaks you into the music scene. So you have people that listen to strictly dancehall music. People that listen to just reggae, listen to just rap. So with music, music is considered a universal language. You deal with being able to connect with people that you never thought in a million years that you can have a conversation with. Like I've met people that I know for a fact that if I wasn't a DJ, I probably would have never spoke to them walking through the mall or in a Walmart or a Target. So that's really how music kind of gravitated to me, just kind of being able to take the level of socialism, like I'm a very social individual, to the next level to kind of communicate people that may not speak English. They may speak Spanish, or they may speak Portuguese, or something else. You know what I mean? Patois. So music kind of just helps me do that, speak to different people.
Yeah, like you said yourself, like it's a universal language, but in order for you to make music, you also have to like tap into like kind of universality of, you know, being a diverse kind of person, being able to fit in different circles. When it comes to crafting your sound, what's something that, even though you're universal, that's kind of unique or like your signature for you that you put in your music on purpose?
I would say in regards to that question, just kind of experiencing different people. I mean, because I went to college, I went to SUNY Brockport, and I got to meet people, like I said, that I never thought that I would meet in a million years, like that are now in power out in, like, let's say Queens, for example, or Brooklyn or the Bronx. So they have different type of languages, you know, different type of slangs. So for me, I just kind of took each experience that I've had with different people and just applied it to how did I want to tell my story when I started playing music as far as a DJ, like what songs I'm going to play, how should I play them, when should I play them, things like that.
I know you brought up college. How important would you say the Brockport experience was in 89.1 FM?
I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, it was a 7. 7 because when I was in college, a lot of the times the things that I wanted to do, they weren't allowing me to do because they had never had anybody ask to do that. Somewhat they were kind of afraid of what we now call cancel culture. I mean, like, okay, if we allow him to do this, is it going to affect us in a negative manner? And some people aren't willing to risk that. So what I did, well, on the flip side, I had a professor who not only taught other people that are in power now on other stations like 98PXY, KISS FM, some of the radio personalities on those stations, they were sitting in the same seats that I was sitting in as a college student. So I kind of learned a lot of the same things that they learned, like how to write commercial out, how to record commercial, how to use different programs like Adobe Audition, Pro Tools. And then in regards to the station there, I also learned how to market myself in a radio environment, so to speak, like how to handle myself, like in regards to talking to other colleagues, meeting specific deadlines, things of that nature. Because I'm a very big, I used to be a very big procrastinator. Shout out to my manager, Josh. He definitely helps me knock that out and stay consistent, because consistency is key, especially in this industry.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like definitely transitioning from, okay, I'm getting the preliminary kind of trainings in college to now I'm like in the industry. But that kind of mental switch, you're doing it. Like this is the profession, you're in it. What's that kind of shift like for you?
For me, it's more, like I said, it's more so about experiences. So a lot of times people tend to want to win all the time, and that's never the case. Like, when have you ever learned a lot from winning? Like, I've learned more from my losses than my wins. So a lot of times the experiences that I've had, whether it was, okay, I handed my project in class and I might have got a 70 on it. You know what I mean? That kind of helped me shape into, okay, now I know if I'm on the radio and I press the microphone button, I got to make sure that I don't say a curse word, because that can affect the station. It can affect myself. So it's really just about, for me, it's just about experiences. So experiencing new things every single day when in this industry, you just have to really keep in mind. It makes you keep your mind on an alert. Like, okay, you know what? If I say something right now, it may affect me 10 years down the line. Like I said, cancel culture, like it's crazy. Like, that's why a lot of people don't want to do certain things, because of this cancel culture that we have nowadays.
Yeah, like you moved a lot of weight on your shoulder. Like at any point in time, it's just like, yo, am I slipping up? Am I messing up? But when you have a good team behind you, at least, from what we communicated with. Like, what was it like finding a team, like getting a footing in the industry?
It's an up and down situation, because in regards to teams, you don't always see eye to eye, right? So even with me and my manager, for example, like sometimes he may say, hey, I think you should do this. And it's like, I don't want to do that. And it's like, I still have to make the decision at the end of the day, because it's still my brand, it's still my name that's on the line, regardless of if this person says that it's going to be in my best interest. It's like, is it going to actually make me happy? Should I actually do that? And then sometimes it's times where my manager might tell me I should do something. It's like, I don't really want to do this, but I'm gonna follow this person's judgment, and then it pans out in the right way. But again, you just have to take those leaps of faith. So that's how it is with teamwork. You just have to really take a leap of faith and trust. And along the way, I've lost a lot of friends, a lot of people that were on the team. Some of them have went downhill, some of them have went uphill. So I would say congratulations to them on both aspects.
Dang, that's what's up. And you not only DJ on the air, you actually DJ in person too. What's that like, getting into, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that? Like, what's something that really gets you in the zone and ready for that?
I look at every single show, every single performance as it's my first time on a stage. And regardless if I keep seeing the same faces, there's always somebody in there that may have never seen me perform before. And that opportunity can lead me to somewhere else, whether it's more money, to travel somewhere that I've never been, or even just to be a part of someone's moment in life, like a wedding or a quinceañera, sweet 16, or whatever it is. So that's really how it is for me when it comes down to performing live. I just kind of mentally prepare myself for future stuff. Like, okay, you know what? I want to communicate with people through music. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to play for the people, and then always make sure that I give it my all. Even if it's 6 people in there or 6,000 people, I give it your all.
Speaking about teams, like, we just saw that you dropped your album, your EP. And what was it like getting the team together for that? What was it like getting the songs ready and really working with other artists?
I would say I got to shout out my manager, because a lot of times it was really about consistency. A lot of artists, everybody has different reasons for why they do certain things. Some people have, like I said, for me, like I'm a dad, so I have to sometimes take the good with the bad. I got to balance it all out. But some people, they can't do that. So I had to deal with sending someone an email and saying, hey, did you finish your verse? Yeah, I got you tomorrow. And then you got to wait 3 weeks for it to come in. So it's like, come on, man. But not everybody has that solid team. So like my manager, it's like, he's like not only my friend, he's like my therapist. He's like a brother. So it's like, I'll call him and be like, yo, man, what in the hell? I sent this guy the beat 6 weeks ago. He still ain't send it. And then he'll be like, bro, just be patient. Everybody has different lives. And then 10 minutes later, I get a text. Hey, my verse is in your email. So it's just like, you have to really have patience. You got to have consistency, and you got to really just kind of make sure that your relationships are there and understand that everybody's human. So you just have to really just respect people's time. So that's really kind of how it kind of manifested for my EP. It's just like, it just took relationships, time, and just kind of seeing where I wanted to be at when it comes down to presenting that project out.
Yeah. Speaking of where you want to be at, you are a pretty decorated, I don't want to say performer, but decorative performances. You've been on Rolling Loud, South by Southwest. You were at Live Nation, Kendrick Lamar's The Championship Tour. For seeing how your career has already put you in these great places and places where people want to be at, what's something that you're also aspiring toward, or what's something that you kind of hope to perform at, or a level you want to see your career at?
I asked myself that at the end of last year because I felt like I hit all the goals that I wanted to hit at this point. So it was more so new goals of, like I said, being more consistent this year. In regards to places, it's a couple of places on my bucket list that I want to go. Like, I want to go to Hawaii, I want to go to Japan, I want to go to like Australia, places like that I've never been yet. But as far as like festivals and stuff like that, Coachella is one, of course, whether it's at the beginning of the stage or at the end of the stage where it's the big time. Coachella is one. And then there's always new festivals popping up. Like, I just heard of a California Smoke Fest that just popped up, and they have headliners Kid Cudi, A$AP Rocky, and Wiz Khalifa. So like every year there's new festivals coming up. So it's hard to really just put a pinpoint on, okay, you know what? I want to get on this thing next, or I want to become that, because it's really just, it changes all the time. So you just gotta kind of go with the times.
Well, it seems like you're always busy, whether it's recording music, performing on live air, performing at events. Like, how do you usually cool off, or like what's up when you're in that mode of like, I'm done working? How do you usually chill out?
I'm a very big movie guy. So I'm into like watching movies, watching Netflix series, hanging out with my kids. What else do I like to do? I like to explore to different museums. That's one thing. When I was younger, I used to collect Pokemon cards. So I'm very big into like the Pokemon scene, and just kind of, it's been 25 years since Pokemon actually created. You know what I mean? So this year will be like, was it 26 years? So, McDonald's always does it in February, all that kind of stuff. So it's just little things that I like to do from like my childhood. And then just kind of also feeding my brain new things, because if you're not feeding yourself stuff and learning stuff every day, then you're not growing. So that's just something that I like to do, just feed myself new things outside of music.
Well, outside of feeding yourself, you do have a daughter. How does managing time for feeding, not just feeding her, but hanging out and being that real dad figure, that you want to be, how does that kind of like tie into your day?
What I will say is, if all the dads that may listen to this podcast, that are chasing a dream or even having a 9-to-5, you have to physically and mentally and spiritually block everything out, and you have to understand what's most important. Whether it's being a financial provider, whether it's being a person that's going to help your child learn how to tie their shoes, or even just feed them something. Because I actually have 4 kids. You know what I mean? So I started a little early, but I have a lot of times where I even ask myself, like, man, I don't see my kids enough. And it's not because I'm sitting around on my behind doing absolutely nothing. It's more so because I'm doing so much, and it's kind of hard to balance it all out. But I always look at the bigger picture. Like, does it really make sense? Like, okay, if I can go and take my son, let's say, to a football game versus going to DJ a football game, how can I knock out 2 birds with 1 stone? Maybe I could bring them to the football game, you know what I mean? Or maybe I could bring the family or stuff like that. Or even when it comes down to, like I said, going to like, kid functions, like football games, or like I said, even putting them in bed, because I normally have to go to the radio station like around 6:37, so I don't really see them at nighttime. So I have to figure out how to squeeze them into my time, but it's like, it has to make sense. Like, it's not just, okay, I'm doing this because I'm trying to look cool to somebody else. It's like, y'all have to make sure I'm happy and that it's going to benefit my kids in the future. So it's really just about balancing time and chasing your dreams. And again, you really have to block out a lot of things. Like you have to deal with, I'm not sure how everybody else deals with stuff, but you got to deal with your baby mom saying, you never see your kids and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, sometimes you got to ignore those messages. Or sometimes you may have a friend that's like, hey, when the last time you saw your kids, man? You always working. You got to ignore those people, because those are the people that they're going to make it seem as if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And it's like, they're not the ones that got to walk your path. So you have to make sure it makes sense for you, and the decisions that you make, you can live with them. Because there's many people out here that have kids that also have careers that I've asked during interviews, like, hey, is there anything you regret? And some things they say is like, yo, I wish I spent more time with my family, because they be working so much. So you have to really figure out the balance in between. It's not easy, but it's not hard either. You just have to make sure it makes sense for you.
That's what's up. I actually had a friend that performed on Christmas, and he was saying like, man, this is like the stuff that people don't see about music. They don't see how hard we have to work, the times we have to sacrifice, and the things we have to do, not only to feed our pockets, but also to feed our fans. Like, what if there's someone out there listening that's just like, I want to be a DJ, I want to get into the industry. What's something that you would tell them, or something that you shine light upon?
3 things: time, money, and patience. So in regards to timing, you have to make sure that when the opportunity presents itself, you have to make sure that you have enough balance inside of your mind, your body, and your soul to spend the time to make it happen. Don't make up excuses. Just be honest with people, be yourself, and spend the time to practice, research, because a lot of times there are a bunch of DJs that are coming out now in the younger generation that just buy a laptop, they go download music, and then they're like, all right, I'm a DJ. And it's like, all right, cool. But if I put you on a stage in front of 6,000 people, are you going to be able to play the songs, keep them engaged? And they'll boo you. And that really hurts people's egos and prides. And they'll throw stuff at you, all sorts of stuff. So it is not a pretty sight. It's not a good feeling. Like it really breaks you down. I've been there before. In regards to money, sometimes people have relationships where their cousin owns a club, or their cousin is a promoter, or their cousin is a booking agent or something. So they don't have to worry about money. But you have to understand that sometimes you may not always get paid the money that you feel you want to get paid, but you have to know your worth. I mean, don't sign up for something and say, oh, I can do this, this, and this, and I'm going to make this much money. And then it's like, can you really do it? Can you really do it? And is it really worth it? So, because like people ask, hey, how much do you charge? And I'll tell them my price, and they'll be like, ooh, okay, cool, I got you. And then they go book somebody else, and they don't get what they paid for, because it's like, you get what you pay for. So that's for DJs too. Like, you just got to make sure that you have your value, and that. And then as far as patience, some people, they will do things over and over and over, and they feel like they're getting nowhere. You have to be patient, because again, like all those times of being consistent and doing what you need to do, it will pay off. And it's not going to always happen exactly when you want it, but it's gonna happen eventually. Like, it's been times where I've been like, man, I've been in this club for like 3-4 weeks straight, and I'm just like, I'm here, I'm on autopilot. And then that 7th week, boom, now they bring in a special guest artist, or boom, now there's a bridal party in there that's going to pay me extra money, or boom, now I got somebody in here that I haven't seen since middle school that come in, now they want to be the DJ at their wedding. You know what I mean? And it was off me being in that one spot, being consistent and being patient. So those are the 3 things that I would say for them.
Yeah, one thing that I like to talk about with my friends, like when we're hanging out, is when the thing about luck is like you have to be consistent on your part. Like you don't get lucky, you maximize your lucky. It's like when an opportunity presents itself, like were you ready? Were you doing what you had to do? And that's an everyday thing, because like you said, you never know when that one person is gonna link up and take off. So
Yep.
yeah, you're really preaching to the choir, man, because that's something that me and Paris are trying to do more now. Like, so just an everyday thing. Like, yo, what can I do today for what I want to be tomorrow? So,
Exactly.
Thank you for that confirmation, and being proof that every day works, yo.
Yeah. Like, don't think because you see, like I said, because you see the videos, or you see me on stages, like how your friend said about the guy for Christmas. It's like, it's not always glamour. Like, you're gonna have the people that's gonna be like, come to the DJ booth or come to your event, say, oh, you suck. Like, you didn't play this song long enough. You didn't play this song at all. Or, oh, you have on this outfit and it stands for this and we don't like you. Or you may have somebody close to you saying like, yo, why are you still doing this? Like, this is stupid. Like, I remember when I first started, I had a family member that was like, he wasn't really a blood family member. He's like a friend that I considered like a brother. Specifically say to me, yo, you wasting your time being inside the house practicing. Like, you should be out here with me playing curveball, like playing basketball, playing football. And I'm looking at him like what? And then he was like, then I had somebody else tell me, you should get a real job, because I was only making a couple dollars when I was doing 4 or 5 hour shifts to be a DJ when I first started. And now it's like that same energy. If I had kept that energy going, like, you know what, they're right. I should get a real job, or I should go do this. I wouldn't be where I'm at today. So again, you have to block those things out. You have to understand that people don't always talk about their failures. So they always want to talk. I always want to show the little snippets of when they're winning, when everything's good. And it's like, I like to get both so that people can understand that, like, listen, in order for you to get this to happen, you got to go through this. Like, you got to go through your laptop breaking on you. You got to go through people saying specific things to you to knock you down and break your ego down. You got to go through a bunch of no's before you get a yes. Like, you got to go through all of that stuff.
Facts. And all those L's and all those people that are just talking just as to who you are and who you become as a DJ, as an artist, as a professional, because those people don't know what your true love is. Those people don't know, like, it doesn't matter if I make $0. Like, I just love this. I want to do this over everything in life. And it becomes those people that are saying not to do it are the ones that didn't have aspirations or didn't chase their aspirations. And I think the more people that say you shouldn't do something is just the more like, okay, like, I got to do it now. I got to prove to them that I can do it. Is there anything specifically that you just want to talk about, whether it's like just the flip side of that, where someone said, okay, you should do this, or someone gave you some advice that you just ran with?
Best advice that someone ever gave me that I ran with was, like, they said it, like, I always hear it all the time. Stay the course. My mom said it to me. My nana said it to me. My grandma said it to me. My dad said it to me all the time. And I say to people all the time, stay the course. Because like I just said before, there's times where you're going to think that everything is good and you can't get comfortable because it can change in a matter of 30 seconds. So you have to stay the course. When everything is going good, appreciate it. When it's going bad, appreciate it, because those bad times would, depending on what you do during those bad times, they'll determine who you become in the future, right? And then you also have the new generation that are coming up that they don't really have anybody to look up to. Like, I said something about this on the radio the other day. I was like, you got people like Betty White passing away. You got people like Bob Saget passing away that we've grown up watching Full House. You have, Will Smith, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. People still, have him as an icon, or the whole Fresh Prince household name. Now they have this new reboot of Fresh Prince. And the people they like it, but they don't like it. You got people that's talking down and like, oh, why they rebooted Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? Because they're not teaching the same morals and the same life stories that they taught during the episodes that we used to watch, right? And it's like, because we're in a different time. Like, even with some of the horror films, like this generation doesn't even have their own horror person. Like, the 90s had Freddy Krueger, the 80s had Jason, somewhat the 90s, early 2000s had Chucky. Like, what do we have? Annabelle? You know what I'm saying? So you got to have those people. Like, we have to create a new person to keep that generation to have some type of like inspiration. Like, oh wow, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is the new R.L. Stein that made the new version of Goosebumps. Or, hey, who's the next big comedian? Like, even some of these comedians, they make these little snippets on Instagram that's so funny for 30 seconds, but they don't know how to stand up comedy for an hour. So it's kind of like, who's going to be the next Kevin Hart? Because he came out of nowhere. You know what I mean? He had to start off with, doing what he did. So same thing with DJ, same things with firemen, same things with, even presidents. We had a black president. Who's going to be the next black president? We have a female vice president. Who's going to be the next female vice president? And I just look at it, for me as a DJ, you know what? I want to be the best DJ that I can be, the best individual that I can be, so I can inspire people to say, hey, listen, this generation before me did this, this, and this. So this is what I'm going to do for this generation, so that you can have a mindset of like, you know what? If he can do it, so can I. No matter what it is that you do. So that's kind of like what I want people to think and take a second to think about. Like, dang, like, if somebody out there that really loves horror films, create a horror character for this new generation, so they can be like, oh, did you see that new blah, 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 blah? Because, like, think about how many Jason movies that came out. And it's the same story every time. He comes alive. They talk about Kim Crystal Lake, blah, 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 blah. They pretend to kill him, then he comes back. Like, what in the world? Freddy Krueger, the same thing. It's like 7 Nightmare on Elm Streets. You get it? It's like, who's gonna be that kid that is very into creepy, crazy horror stuff that's going to create that new horror person? Who's going to be that person that's going to say, you know what? I'm a funny individual, so I'm going to become the next big comedian that's going to make people understand, like, listen, if you want to do something, you could be what you want to be and be the best at it. Yeah, so that's just my take on that.
Yeah, I feel you 100%. It's the same thing they do with the anime adaptation. Like, oh, everything is a brand new live adaptation. We didn't want a live adaptation. We wanted a brand new anime to get put on. We wanted a new movie to watch it in theaters. And it's just like there's nobody is trailblazing. Nobody's creating new categories. Nobody's creating new archetypes. What it is like, what I feel it is that people see something that's done well, and then they do it well too. But a lot of people don't want to do what they do in that, like they don't want to. People don't want to. Okay, DJ Tygga Ty, he's making music. He's playing music, but DJ Tygga Ty is playing how DJ Tygga Ty plays. Or Paris is making music that Paris plays, or Jason doing things that Jason does. Like, nobody wants to put their name on their scale on what they do. People just want to be successful. And I think when it comes to your work ethic and just, your personality, is like you want to be the best you. And like that's something that a lot of people don't even consider as like a part of success. So they don't really just like shout out to you for really like being literally yourself. And it's a very underrated feature that we don't have a lot of people speaking out on. So thank you.
Like, think about it, like, even as a DJ, right? Like, even when I was trying to figure out how did, DJ Drama become so successful and become a household name? How did DJ Envy? How did Kid Capri? How did, whatever other DJs that Funk Flex that people listen to that became a household name? I had to go back and look at that. Okay, well, Funk Flex, the things they talk about bad on him is he talked too much on the radio. He always drops his flex bomb. He does these freestyles. He always yelling, da-da-da. So I took pieces of that and I added it to myself. I'm gonna do it my way to give myself a funk flex feel. Okay, DJ Drama, he had Gangsta Grills. He was dropping mixtapes. All right, cool. I'm gonna drop mixtapes, but I'm gonna do it my way. I'm not gonna go and say, oh, I'm the new DJ Drama and I'm funk flexing and I'm gonna create my own thing. You know what I mean? Even with like the stop playing like movement, I had to learn how to create a slogan and how to create a catchphrase. All that stuff. And that's for me, like looking at Pokemon, looking at Power Rangers as a kid. Like, they have all these different brands that and legacies and household names that they had to figure out how to brand it. You know what I mean? And you have to do that for yourself, especially if you're inside of whatever field that you're in. You want to be a doctor and you're understudying another doctor, don't do the surgery the same way that person did it. Do it how you want to do it. Because you're going to make your own mistakes just like how they made their mistakes, but it makes you different versus, oh, I'm just a doctor. Like, you always had that one doctor that's like, oh yeah, that's a doctor. Yeah, he's an actual doctor. So just think about it. Think about it for a second. Like, think about how many people that you meet that's like, oh, he work at a sneaker store. Oh, no, my boy John work at the sneaker store. He got the connect. You get it? Or, oh, she's a nurse. Nah, Nurse Jane, yeah, she's a nurse. Like, I could call her right now and she's gonna tell me what's wrong with my eye. Versus the other girl that's a nurse, she like, oh, I don't know. You gotta go to the doctor. It's like, ain't you a nurse? So you gotta like that's how I look at it. If somebody call me, you a DJ, right? Yeah. They gonna call me with a DJ question. They go, oh, he's a DJ for real. There's somebody just like, I don't know what that is. You gotta go and look that up, or you gotta go ask somebody else. So then what's the point of you being a DJ or a fireman or whatever? You're not giving 100% because if somebody calls you because they think you're the first person they think of when they think of that occupation, and you can answer their question. Now, how are you actually what you say you are?
That's a fact, and that comes with actually loving what you do, because it's like the nurses that don't pay attention, the DJs that are like, okay, like you got on the station because you're connects. You're not really that raw of a DJ. Everyone that that isn't really standing up to par or doing what they should do is really because they don't love what they're doing. And like, I think that's really the big reason why me and Jason were like, we gotta have DJ Tygga Ty on our show, because like you could tell in his craft that he not only enjoys it, but he studies it. And that's really what we're trying to push to our listeners. Like, if you want to be an artist, if you want to be a podcaster, if you want to be a spokesman, if you want to be a DJ, whatever you want to be in life, you can't do it just for, I want the IG clout. I want the chicks to look at me different. We just want to give you kudos for doing that and at being not only DJing, but DJing well.
Well, listen, I definitely appreciate y'all for having me. For all of those that are listening to this podcast, please make sure y'all support them, because again, if you don't support them and what they're doing, then how do you expect for the new generation or the new to kind of have a stamp and actually stick and not be here today and gone tomorrow?
And thank you for that. What do you got planned for this year?
This year, so my main goal is to focus on marketing my social media a little bit better, in regards to building a stronger and a much wider fan base. And like I said before, there's a bunch of different festivals that are popping up because of COVID regulations. So some festivals are not going to happen again, but some of them are actually coming back. They have other festivals that are going to pop up and are going to have me on them. So as they come in through the door, I'm gonna be dropping them on my social media. So that's why I'm focusing on building my social media presence up a little bit more. And then again, my last thing is just to really fully and strongly remain consistent. So shout out to my manager, because he definitely made sure that I'm been on top of things.
Shout out to your manager. Shout out to Josh.
Yeah.
Where can our listeners find you if they want to follow and support your sound and your career?
Soundbitemanagement.com. Say that 3 times so you can remember it. Nah, that's my guy Josh. But at DJ Tygga Ty on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I no longer have a Snapchat. I do have a TikTok, but I don't really use it. My kids use my TikTok. But DJ Tygga Ty with 2 G's. Look for the blue check, all that good stuff. And then just press the follow button and enjoy the views. And like I said, if you ever inside of a city that I'm in, feel free to contact me. And if I have access to get you backstage and all that kind of stuff, I'll always do it. Cause I'm like, yo, give out blessings. Even if the person doesn't be able to return that blessing back, my blessing comes back from somewhere else because you put good energy into the universe.
That's a fact. So thank you for being a part of the show. And thank you for making good music.
Hey, what's going on? It's your man, DJ Tygga Ty, Mr. Chaotic to the Phillips to Stop Playing, and the Love of It podcast. Listen, you got to love it. You got to support it. You got to rock with it because, listen, I rock with it. Paul Prince approved. And you know my slogan, right? Stop playing.